Hello everyone, and thanks for attending today's webcast. Why switch your SCM? Because the grass truly is greener on the other side. We are extremely pleased to have as our speaker today, Director of ISPW Migration Services, Francois Dansereau. With that, I'd now like to welcome and hand things over to Francois.
Thanks, Janet. Welcome to this webcast on SCM Migration Services from Compuware. What a great subject for a Thursday morning, or whatever you are. Your SCM solution makes a big difference. Why switching? Of course, the last thing you want to see is exchanging 4 quarters for $1. I don't know, this is a French expression that I pick up. I guess it's working too in English, but this is the last thing you want to see. In this digital world, you need to develop faster. You need to release faster. Agile, CI/CD, DevOps, ISPW is the SCM solution that will enable all this. You need to speed up the development lifecycle. Things you'll be able to do that you cannot do today. Accelerate application development and delivery across all systems, including the mainframe. Building a robust DevOps toolchain are essential in today's world. Enablement of IDE solutions, flexible software development lifecycle, SDLCs, development capabilities to maintain your test sandbox, and production helpers, including all the needed artifacts, like you want to see an SCM solution tools that will provide your DB2 binds, backbinds, CICS new copies, IMS, FLLA refresh, name it. You want this to be part of your 2B SCM environment to enable, to facilitate the deployment of your mainframe applications. The already proven references that we have today is that these are the 3 references where our migration services were used to achieve their goals. We will talk more about this later in this webcast. As you can see, there's 3. We pick up one from Endevor, Broadcom CA Endevor, one for Micro Focus Changeman, and the last one, it's a homegrown migration to ISPW. Our migration, this is the main subject that I want to talk about today on this webcast. As you can see here is that we are covering all the current SCM solution in the markets. Most enterprises cannot achieve their objective due to an outdated source code management solution that does not support essential agile practices such as parallel or concurrent development and rapid code adoption, promotion, sorry. Our migration services will allow your agile-averse SCM solution, such as LCM from ASG, Endevor, Librarian, and Panvalet from Broadcom, IBM, SCLM, or RTC, Micro Focus Changeman, or even maybe your homegrown solutions, to be migrated easily and gracefully under ISPW. ISPW migration process. So what you see here is the life cycle of a project that we are performing on our client site to switch from their current SCM solution to the future environment under ISPW management. First, the first thing that needs to be done is we need to execute our SCM discovery tools on your current SCM environment to extract the proper data and scope the effort of the migration project. So the purpose of the migration tools, the discovery tools, it's to extract the information that we are looking for to be able to understand, the size of the migration and be able to support, to provide a scope of the effort that will be needed to perform the migration at your site. Next, if we go ahead with the migration projects, is that we are executing our step-by-step methodology to successfully, and I like to use the word gracefully, perform the migration, supported by the migration tools to extract all the current metadata that you have under your SCM solution, and that includes the historical version of your programs and components, and feed all this to the ISPW environment. And finally, the Compuware support and our virtual project cabinet are the backbone, of all our migration projects. To be a bit of a ITIL compliant, we like to have all the documentation and everything being supported by our virtual project cabinet. Reducing risk of migrations. Compuware Migration Services is reducing the time, effort, and risk associated with SCM migrations. We are SCM experts on your current SCM solution in place, which is helping us to make you successful in this migration. While enabling ISPW within your environment, we will bring best practices and proper integrations within your DevOps tool change. I've been lucky, to have the same all-star members within our migration teams for at least the last 25 years. I'm sure there's a lot of you that will recognize the names, and this is to me one of the best thing that happened to the migration team at Compuware, is that these guys really know your current setup under ChangeMan or Endevor, Panvalet, or any other tools. So it's great to know where you're coming from and where you're going to. So to be an expert on both sides of the fence make us, very expert and attractive to perform such migration. Our methodology, this is the heart, this is the foundation of our migration services. What you see here in orange, those are the 5 gates that are included within our methodology. The first blue box, it's all the pre-sales activities. What you see here, it's only the first level of, we're using mind map to map, our methodology. So you see only the first level of the documentation information related to the methodology. And this is what I would like to show you today. I'm not concerned about going in details on everything, but there's a lot of information in there. This is a proven, step-by-step methodology, which includes, as I said, 5 gates. Gate number 1, this is the assessment gate. This is where we evaluate the client's existing internal practices in regards to selected frameworks and standards. So the idea of the assessment gate, it's first of all, it's not a long process, but it's to sit down, to have different meetings with you to understand, all the requirements that you have today to manage your applications. We want to cover, the application lifecycle, the dataset naming convention, the production LPARs, the test sandbox, the translation process. So we need, at the end of that assessment, we don't want to be expert on the current SCM solution in place, but we want to understand, what's going on to be better, to be more proactive on the design section of the project, which is gate 2. Gate 2 is the design and architecture portion of the project, and this is where we propose a set of business processes to address your objectives and issues. Identify the major gap between the current state and proposed future state, and how this will be rectified. And finally, develop a solution architecture document. So this is the blueprint document, and project plan for the proposed implementation. This is at the end of gate 2, which is the design. That will be the first deliverable of the migration project. And the first deliverable, it's a solution design specification document. This is the blueprint of how we're going to implement ISPW to fulfill all the objectives and requirements of your SCM solution that you want to have. So this is the first deliverable. And the next one, under the same gate, is the final project plan, because at that time, we're going to know exactly how big, what would be the effort to finalize, to do the whole migration. Gate 3 is the solution development gate. This is the gate where we will implement. There's a difference between installation and implementation. So this is where we will implement ISPW according to the design document from Gate 2 and perform the validation of this new environment with the pilot team going through use cases. Therefore, you see there's two major activities on Gate 3. The first one is the implementation of ISPW, and the second one is the validation of that implementation. Therefore, we will train a pilot team. We're going to pick up a pilot application or maybe subset, of different applications. And your pilot team will have to go through the use cases that will be developed by us and you, because we don't want to be the only owner of the use cases. You need to dictate everything that you want to see. And after that, they're going to go through the use cases to make sure that it's working as designed. If we are getting the green light from you guys, we're going to the next gate, which is the migration gate, gate number 4. This is where we will perform the real migration of your current SCM solution to ISPW. This also includes, for sure, the development for the programmers to make sure that they're going to be trained at the right time. So when they're going to come up on Monday morning, for instance, they're going to be able to use ISPW instead of the current SCM solution. The project plan, the migration project plan, this is something that is very crucial in this project. This is something that we need to publish, first of all. We need to make sure that everybody knows when their application will be migrated and when they're going to be trained on ISPW. So all this is being published. All the tasks are being published, and this is a key, to successful migrations. And finally, the post-migration support. This is where we finalize, for instance, the knowledge transfer, improve any integrations on your DevOps, initiatives that you have. This is where we can maybe add other translation process that were not there, that we part of the design. So this is to finish, on a good wave, to make sure that everything is in place, up and running. Something that I did not mention about the methodology is that, it's very, there's two main purposes of that methodology. It's to make sure that my team is always performing the project with following the same recipe. And from that methodology, we have all the predefined templates like project plan or the design document or skeleton. So there's a lot of information that we don't want to rebuild from project to project. So this is one of the first main objectives of the methodology. And also, when I'm presenting that methodology in front of the client, they feel much more confident that we know what we're talking about, that we've done it many times, and they can feel, that everything that they are looking for or have any concerns, that there's an answer in that methodology document, that they can see that we've done it and we know what we're doing. That slide from the proven methodology practice. The benefits of our methodology is to significantly reduce the SCM implementation time and associated cost. This is something that you want to see, and also to generate significant gains more rapidly. So it's great to switch from one platform to the next one, one SCM solution to the ISPW, but you want to make sure that this can be done, I'm going to say it another time, gracefully. We need to preserve into the new SCM environment all the historical data that you have, the inter-application dependencies, and we should not forget about the cross-references relationship between components. So all this needs to be promoted, need to be migrated under ISPW. Before doing the production cutover, we are going into a validation phase, as I mentioned on the before, and this is in gate number 3, where your pilot team will go through use cases scenario to certify the ISPW implementation. So all this ensures zero disruption on the development work, of what is currently being performed under your current SCM solution, and also you don't want to disrupt any production applications. You don't want to migrate things under ISPW and getting issues in prod. So the last thing you want to see is any disruption on your current development and on the production environment. The technology implementation plan. You see again the 5 gates of our methodology on the top, where you see the assessment and design, implementation, the validation, which is the pilot and the use cases, and there's X number of blue groups in there. Usually, there's different ways to perform gate 4, for the migration. There's always the big bang that we don't use that much. Most of the time, what we like to do is by grouping a set of applications together, and there's going to be X number of groups that will be migrated under ISPW, and this is how you can, schedule when they're going to be migrated, when people will be trained, and all this. And finally, gate number 5, which is the cutover and the support of this whole project. The administration training of ISPW is being performed. This is an ongoing task, but mainly being performed under gate number 1, 2, and 3. The pilot training is being done under gate number 3 for the use cases. And finally, the application developer training is being performed under gate number 4. So you see there's 3 types of training: the administration, the pilot team training, and all the programmers, developers on gate number 4. The build and the validation of the new SCM framework is being performed under gate number 3. And you see the 3 major milestones down below, where the first one is where we finalize the design and project plan. The second one is when we build the framework, and the last one is when we are performing the conversion, the migration of the applications. Our migration tools. We have a set, of migration tools for every SCM solution on the market. What you see here, this is the Broadcom CA Endevor migration tool to ISPW. Our migration tools are mostly written in Rex, so it's very easy for us. We are coming with our toolbox, and we are installing the migration tools. And the beauty about the tools that we've built is that there's a few items that can easily be configured to manage the migration at your site. Therefore, we can set up, like the number of historical version that you want to extract, in this case from Endevor, and populate ISPW. There's all type of configuration items, to identify DB2 components, CICS component, IMS, and so forth. And the purpose of the migration tool is to be able to build the metadata repository. So in there we have, records for every element that is being under Endevor management, and the final, step of the migration tools is to be able to read that metadata and perform all the activities, all the actions that you want to see for the ISPW migration. And this includes the registration of the parts. Parts like a program creates a load module and a listing. So we're talking about 2 parts. DB2 program creates, a load module, the DBRM, and a listing. So all this is being done under the migration tools activities. And what you see at the end is that you can use ISPW being able, to perform impact analysis, or being able to browse any previous version of your programs, or being able to browse the listing that was under Endevor management. So all this is being done now under the new SCM solution instead of using Endevor in this case. So those tools are there to streamline and automate the conversion process to help, all the challenges and risk associated with the application migration. And The first time that those tools will be validated, it's when at gate 3, when we're going to go over the validation phase of the project with the pilot team. Those are all, activities that will be done on the use cases to make sure that the previous version are there, that the translation process is working, that this specific program needs to be linked, above the line, all the DB2 binds, the generation of the DB2 binds, the back binds, everything. So all this needs to be promoted, validated, and when we get the sign off, from that pilot team, this is where we're going to be able to go on gate 4 and trigger the real migration. Let's talk about the three typical, migration that we've done: Macy's, Standard Bank, and Pekin. First one, it's at Macy's. At Macy's, it was a Broadcom CA Endevor migration to ISPW. The objective was to enable agile development within Macy's environment. So if you look at the information that you have there, we were talking about 70 applications under the management of Endevor, and that includes about 222,000 Endevor components at Macy's under Endevor. The funny thing about this project is that we've done, all the gates at the client side for the migration, but at gate 4, instead of doing all the migration, we only did few application migration with them, and they were trained on the migration process, and they finished, the rest of the application. So we've done, just a subset of the application, and they did all the rest, and everything went very well. And they were always supported for sure by the migration services in case that they had questions. At Standard Bank, that was a micro-focus change migration to ISPW. The objective over there was to enable Agile, like almost everybody else, DevOps, and the CI/CD to grow strategic digital infrastructure and application software engineering capabilities. What they had in place, it was an inadequate setup of their SCM solution. They had limited visibility of their code quality and code changes. They had limited extensibility and integration of any DevOps solution that they wanted to see. They had inefficient outsourced testing, and the deployment was very painful. So ISPW was a natural, solution for them. The integration with our IDE, Topaz, Workbench, they were very impressed with this. The integration out of the box with all the DevOps tools like Sonar Source and Sonar Cube. The code visibility and collaboration provided by ISPW. The automation of the test activities provided with ISPW, and all the deployment features, web interfaces, fallback, the deployment and the management of all their test sandbox and production helpers. Those are all great features that an SCM solution need to provide to you. The last one was Pekin Insurance. That was a homegrown to ISPW migration, and the objective was to become agile and be able to integrate solutions like ServiceNow within our development process. I like the quote over there when you see from the project manager that ISPW is helping us reach a standard of DevOps that our management is trying to push us toward. So they were very pleased. First of all, Pekin Insurance, this is not a solution company, so it was very hard for them to maintain the homegrown solution. And the fact that we switched them under ISPW helped them very much to perform all their DevOps initiatives that they were looking for. The value to our clients. To me, these are your takeaways for this webcast. The experience and tools increase clients' confidence level with migrations and integrations. Migration project elapsed times reduced due to experience and implementation of best practices. The specialized expert decreased risk levels for migration and integrations. And client will move closer to full DevOps with integration services. And at the end, what we're trying to do is to make you successful. And yes, the grass is much greener with Compuware. So this is it. Okay, the first one about CA Endevor. We are currently using CA Endevor. We need to modernize our life cycles, system, subsystem, processor groups definition, in addition to other improvements. Can you help us to do this as part of a migration? That is, they don't want to switch to simply duplicating their current inadequate Endevor configuration. But this is exactly what I'm trying to say on this webcast, is that we don't want to change, 4 quarters for $1. So if you don't like the inventory structure that you have currently under Endevor, we don't need to mimic this under ISPW. So on the assessment, we will understand what's going on today under Endevor. And on gate 2, for the design and architecture, we will come up, with the to-be. How we're going to build, how we're going to set up your new inventory structure under ISPW. We're going to define, maybe new types or new application names, but anyway, we will classify the components accordingly from what you would like to see. So yes, to me, this is the perfect time to perform such a migration. Next question. How branching and merging of the code will happen? The question is how branching and merging of the code will happen. The beauty about ISPW, if you compare this with other SCM solutions, is that we can easily manage concurrent development. So it's very easy to create any number of paths that's going to go up to your production stage, level. And from this, you can define the purpose of a path. So those can be projects or anything that you would like, a new version of an application or anything that you need to have, to perform your change management. And the thing about ISPW is that you can easily, see the differences between different versions of the same component under different levels. So you can see, first of all, and ISPW is going to tell you how the different version of the same components on, you have a picture of that, you're going to see where the component resides on all the different levels. So picture-wise, you can easily find out that, yes, this program is at different levels, and you can see who's working on it. You can also ask ISPW to help you to differentiate, between the different versions, all the changes that has been made. So it's a tool that you can use to speed up the concurrent and the parallel development of a components. Can you talk a bit more about specific of? Can you talk more about? Okay, the question: can you talk a bit more about the specific capabilities of your source code management product? Perhaps I cannot do a short, for sure we can set up a demo at your site if you want to have a demo, but I cannot do it right now. He's interested in branching and merging strategies. I just talk a little bit about it right now, but there's a source, for sure, within ISPW, there's always the source management, function of the solution. So all the source is being kept within PDSs. So we don't have, like in Endevor or Panvalet or Librarian, we don't have our own access method, to store the source. The source is being kept in PDSs. And when we are promoting a source, the version -1 is being kept within our warehouse. So you're going to define the number of versions that you want to keep. So all those are being kept within the warehouse of ISPW, but the base version is being kept in PDSs. So you can, browse the PDS using 3.4, or you can have tools like FileAid if you want to scan your PDSs. So there's no ISPW utilities to be able to scan source from an application. There's a question, there is something, okay, you want, does ISPW have an ISPF interface? And how customizable is this interface? Some application or developer may choose not to use Topaz and stay on ISPF. Would you want to make the transition seamless to those users? Okay, the answer is yes, for sure. The first version of ISPW was the ISP under ISPF, and this is still the case. This is still under ISPF and for sure Eclipse. But if you want to use only ISPF, yes, you can do it. As far as customization, you can, I guess you mean when you generate, a component, you want to have a panel where you want to say, I want to, specify COBOL compiler options or link compiler options, or maybe specific DB2 binds, statement and all this. Yes, this is all, available out of the box from ISPW. You can use the default user panel or customize your own, and that panel also will be available under Topaz, under Eclipse. So every customization panel-wise that you want to do for the generation of a component will be also available under Topaz or Workbench at the Eclipse portion. But the answer is, for you were concerned more about ISPF, yes, it is. What does Compuware use in their development process? We're doing our own Champagne. So we are using ISP. I don't know if this is the purpose of the question. We are using ISPW is being managed by ISPW. And as a matter of fact, this is good also for the other solution that we are providing to our clients. How long lasted the Macy's migration project from Endevor? What was the effort? This is a question for sure that it's hard for me to answer this in 2 seconds. And this is the type of I would like to have like a webcast, not a webcast, but a WebEx, with you to show you all the activities that are needed on the customer side. But typically, we're talking about few months of a project. It depends always of the size, of your site, number of people, number of application, and all this. But we've done huge project where talking like the biggest change man client worldwide for Micro Focus, and we've done this within 8 to 9 months. But those projects, it does not take years, to do a project, and you don't want to see that. What else can you show me, Kim? How often is the ISPW software project change? Are the change delivery until the agile? Yes, as I mentioned, we are drinking our own champagne too, so we are agile. We have Scrum meetings every day, and we are providing, often we are not waterfall at all. We used to be a long time ago, but now we do provide updates on a frequently basis to update, the ISPW solution.
I think we have time for one more question.
In C Endevor, we are using global type sequence for code migration. For example, copybooks and macros migrated to COBOL code. Is this feature available in ISPW? The answer is it has to be. If we cannot, sequence the event within a promotion, you don't want to promote programs with, before copybooks, because if we are performing a generation within the promotion, we want to make sure that the dependencies will be migrated first. So yes, the macros and copybooks will be promoted first. The assembler code and COBOL programs, they're going to be promoted after. And if you have composite links, they're going to be promoted last. So we want to make sure that the sequence of event is it's well, managed by a promotion process within ISPW.